Well, I'm Davon Goodwin. I am a farmer in Hope County. My story of agriculture is kind of unique. I got into agriculture after I got injured in Afghanistan. That kind of pushed me into farming from some injuries I've had. And so I've been in the Sandhills region ever since I graduated from the University of North Carolina at Pembroke in 2012. And I think the Sandhills community is a great farming community and it's definitely been great to me so far. So the Sandhills Ag Innovation Center, I think it's definitely a great project. I want to go to the next slide. I think it's a project that, as I've traveled around the states, North and South Carolina, looking at these different projects, it really hones into the collaboration. Without collaboration, these projects do not really work, in my opinion. And so I'm grateful to have, Richmond County government backing me, obviously. Grateful of Golden Leaf Foundation, who put up $475,000 for the project. Richmond County government put up $150,000. And they have the support of Susan Kelly, Taylor Williams, and Paige Burns. Cropper Extension has been great. Without them, I probably wouldn't be this far in the process. And my governing board as well, who will be meeting quarterly to kind of advise me on the steps that I'll be doing. And so when I look at the team that we have in front of you, it's a great team. And I think when you look at the model of a food hub, it takes a lot of partners to make it work. So without the funding and without all the collaboration between each entity, it wouldn't be possible at all. Next slide. And so what will we be doing? Our biggest thing is to connect farmers and buyers to mainstream markets. We will have the ability to be able to wash, chop, and bag, so our fresh cut line. And we'll be able to do aggregation within cross-docking within our cold storage. And hopefully we'll be able to increase production and start new production for new and beginning farmers. I think that the biggest thing that we have the ability to do is bring everybody into one facility. I think one problem in the food system is everybody's not at the table at the same time. So when everybody's not at the table, you leave a lot of people out and there's a lot of gaps in the system. And one thing that I'm really proud that we'll be doing is we'll be having equipment rental for farmers. I think that's really important, especially for new and beginning farmers that don't maybe have the equipment access. I think the equipment that we'll have access to them will kind of spur them the momentum for them to be able to get started the right way. Next slide. And so this timeline has been way before I've gotten here. One thing I think the timeline hones in on is the partnership within all the entities. We have a Sandhills Farm Cooperative that has been meeting for years now to kind of pull us all together. And so one thing that I'm really proud of the fact that the farmers were at the table. I think a lot of times farmers are not, their voices are there, but they're not always at the table. And I think a project like this, you have to have the main buyers and the main players at the table at the same time. And so this timeline kind of hints on that. There was a lot of revisions with Golden Leaf on how they wanted this grant to be proposed to them. And I think that was a good thing because we had to go back to the drawing board several times to actually make it work. And I think that's something that is a bonus because now I think looking at the facility, a lot of changes that we made has actually been a good thing. And I think in the future, I think it'll be one thing that kind of makes our facility different. And so our partners, again, also we have Richmond County government, you have Moore County government. I think the collaboration between the two counties are very important. You don't see that a lot between counties. I know every county wants to do their own project, but I think one important thing is you don't need a food hub or irrigation facility in every county. And so I think we need to look at it from a regional perspective instead of per county perspective, because you look at the amount of money and the amount of time and effort it takes, there's no reason for every county to have a facility like this. And so I think that it was really important for these two counties to pull their resources together, as far as government and as far as farmers, to make it happen. And once again, the Community Food Lab and obviously Matt Konar was great in the process of putting this all together as far as our architect. And Community Food Lab was great within just give us a lot of different things to think about during the process and obviously bringing all the pieces of the puzzle. Next slide. And so this is the team that was put together to go around North and South Carolina to kind of think about what does our food hub in our region need to be about. And I think that with that being said, it was great to have them go around because the whole thing is when you pull economic developers in the pool of it, that really spurs I think the momentum. One thing that you have to look at that makes North Carolina great is agriculture. I think to have the economic development there, it kind of ties the two together. I think in mostly rural counties, agriculture is going to be the driving force of the economics, and so I think it's really important for the economic developers to travel around and see different projects so they can kind of pull all the pieces together when you're looking at the different funding that these counties may have to offer. So lessons learned, there's been a lot of them, a ton. And I think the biggest lesson learned for me is making sure that everybody's at the same table at the same time. And that was key for our construction. I think there's been some miscommunications, which is not a bad thing, but I think if we would have, looking back, I think we just should have had more communication between what we've seen our vision and maybe some of the contracting that was going on. But I mean, it's a lesson learned. I think that when you look at different projects that maybe happen in your community, we definitely have a lot of lessons that we can share with you, so you don't have to go through some of the headaches that we went through. So thank you. Are there any questions?
Does anybody have any questions?
Yes, sir.
On your equipment rental, do you guys have that equipment yet? Or
Yep. Yeah, we do. We started having some of it now. We're still ordering some of
is
it.
it all field type equipment like compost spreader?
Yeah, we have a BCS tiller that has multiple attachments to it. We have also a manual plastic culture machine. We have some manual seeders, and we're in the process of ordering a cold storage trailer that farmers will be able to use to get their product from the field to us in a food safety manner. So, yes, ma'am.
How does the marketing work? The aggregated product?
And so that's a good question, Jan. I'm kind of like the middleman between the growers and the buyers. So we have conversations between buyers, and we hopefully use the Sandhills Farmer Cooperatives, our list of growers that we have, to make sure that we connect the buyers to the growers. And the whole thing is really complicated to connect the buyers and the growers because we're not going to buy anything. So the county did not want me to purchase any product because then it's up to me to sell it. And so I'm like the third party between the growers and the buyers that they bring it to the facility. There's already been communication with the growers and the buyers. So there's already that communication, so it's not falling on me. My part is to make sure that the cold storage is handled correctly and the food safety when it gets to the facility is handled correctly. And so I think that's one thing that makes us different. I think the model of a food hub buying it and putting all the pressure on them to resell it, I think that's a really risky model, and I wouldn't want to do that type of model. Yes, sir?
Kind of to touch on that, when your financial model, is it become solvent at some point in time, or?
Yeah, I definitely think, in my opinion, my process is a little quicker than I think most. My job is to hit the ground running because I think when you base these projects on grants, I don't think that's a viable option. So our whole thing is hopefully within the processing of being able to lightly process and maybe in the future be able to do flash freezing a product, that makes that economic model more strong. I think when we first looked at it, the cross-docking, the rental uses, I think these are all pools of again, economic base, but I think the production between the getting into the field and being able to process it adds value to it, and I think it will add value to our model of the economic part. Yes, sir.
While they're working on the computer, do you have like getting a cross-docking in an off-truck, on-truck? Do you have like a scissor jack, or is there anything?
Yeah, we were actually lucky to have we have about a 30-foot loading dock that has 18-wheeler access and box truck access, and so we have the ability to have the 18-wheelers come in, and we have pallet jacks to be able to pallet jack. And one thing that we did, all of our cooler doors are pallet jack doors, and so we have the ability to get a forklift or a pallet jack in and out those coolers. And so that kind of cuts down on the labor of walking in and out per case. And so that's something that, as we looked at it, going with just a regular door just wasn't going to work for us. And so, but it has changed a lot, and I think the whole thing with the cross-docking, I think it definitely gives companies, the opportunity to get our product because we're only 3 minutes off the main highway.